We have got our next new preview show announced. It looks to be coming very soon, actually, on the 18th of July, and Warhammer community today have teased a lot about what we might actually see in this preview. So what they did is they showed off a very quick little video. I'm not going to show it in full here. I'm not going to react to it or anything, but we will grab some screenshots from it because they are very, very important about what the hints of what we might see in this reveal. But they also did, of course, do an article over on Warhammer Community, and this also gives us a few interesting teases about what we can expect. So the show is the big summer preview, and it is essentially a bit of a celebration because if you weren't aware, Age of Sigmar, as of today, turns 10 years old. Which, if nothing else, is kind of crazy. I still remember to this day the day that it came out and had a great time in the morning reading through all of the new wild rules and hilarious profiles that had come out for the game. Yes, it wasn't competitive or very balanced or anything like that, but it was a lot of fun. And the article then goes on to tell us that not only are we getting a few reveals for a plethora of systems, including 40k, Age of Sigmar, the Old World, and more, but the main takeaway from the article is that they have said there are rumblings of an entirely brand new army coming for Age of Sigmar. Now, it has long been awaited that the Chaos Dwarfs would be coming to AOS, so I think it's about as clear as we can get that this is the army that is coming, that we are going to finally be seeing the Chaos Dwarfs at this reveal show. And I personally am super hyped for it. There is another army actually that I think is long overdue for AOS, which is the Shadow Elves of Malerion. I do think they are coming personally, but I don't think it's going to be now. I am 100% certain that this preview show is going to show us the Chaos Dwarfs. And one of the main reasons for that is because in the little video clip itself, they showed us, it was, as I said, just this short 1 minute clip of Adam and Eddie, who normally host the shows. They were just talking, but in the video is this huge tease all the way through about hats. And I know what you're thinking, hats, why does that have to say that Chaos Dwarves are coming? And the answer is this. Chaos Dwarves have huge hats. They are all about massive, chunky, super duper massive hats. So it really does fit. And it's a very tongue-in-cheek way of hinting to everyone that this is the army that is going to be shown off. But to continue and further play off the hat motif, they also showed themselves in this video essentially wearing a few different hats as they were talking, which they said were a tease about what else we might see in this preview show. So we're going to go through in this video what they were wearing, what they showed off, and what these hats might indicate is coming. And so first up we have this hat. This is a very clear one. It's showing a symbol of the Inquisition, and in particular it is the symbol of the Deathwatch. It's actually a really stylish, cool cap, I think, that Adam is sporting here, so I really like it. I don't know where you can get it, if it's on the webpage or anything, but I might buy one because it's actually a really nice cap. But anyway, it is a symbol of the Deathwatch, so it's clearly something marine related, and there are perhaps going to be some new unique options coming for the Deathwatch. At the moment in their book, they do tend to use the stuff that is from the main Marine Codex, so maybe they will be getting their own set of unique models or even a unique unit. That could be very cool to see. It also might come alongside the long-rumoured and long-awaited Marine 2.0 release, which is quite confirmed, I think, to be coming in for 10th edition at some point. And I mean, let's be honest, it would be very weird for a preview show not to have any marine related stuff that would just be for generic marines. So whilst I think there will be some Deathwatch unique stuff in here, this may also be a chance for them to show off some of what the generic marine chapters are getting in this imminent 2.0 quote unquote release for the marines. The next one up is really weird. He's kind of wearing a marshmallow, poor Adam, but it hilariously, if you look at it, kind of looks like a Votann helmet, which I don't know whether that sells the faction or just makes them feel worse, but it does kind of look like a Votann helmet. They have that almost weird spacesuit design, so perhaps this preview show is going to be a bit heavy on the dwarf theme. You know, we've got the Chaos Dwarfs almost confirmed, and now I think this confirms that the Votann are also going to be getting some reveals. Now, Votann They've been out for a little while now, but they definitely do deserve a second wave. They do have a very small range at the moment, so getting some new kits, maybe even my fingers are being crossed for something like their bigger vehicles. Obviously nothing Titan-sized or anything, but maybe a slightly bigger Land Raider-sized vehicle, or maybe even something a bit bigger than that as a throwback to their old land trains or their Colossus kits would be really, really cool to see, I think. But equally, just getting a few more options for their infantry or elite units will be a really handy way to just flesh out their imminent codex. So I think Deathwatch and the Votann, from the hats we've seen so far, seem to be pretty much confirmed. Now, talking of not being subtle, this is pretty clear, this next one. This is an Egyptian-themed hat, a pharaoh's, I can't remember what they're called, which is bad for someone that used to study Egyptology. But anyway, the pharaoh's kind of hat sort of thing. I feel really bad. Anyone that does know that, please do message in the comments, because I feel awful that I can't remember what those are called. But anyway, it's being worn by Eddie. This is obviously a hint at the Tomb Kings, so this is going to be an old world release. They do have a load of old kits, the Tomb Kings. They are, at this stage, probably one of the oldest ranges in the entire game, with the re-release of their stuff in the old world. So getting either some brand new models or just some of their units getting updated kits, so maybe their skeletons, their horsemen and their chariots actually getting updated to more modern styles, would be unbelievably cool. And I think GW, I think this is fair to say, I think GW initially held off going all in the old world just because they weren't sure how popular it was going to be. But now that they've seen how much people love it, how much people enjoy playing it, how much it sells well, and just how, you know, if they invest in it and support it, how long it's going to flourish, and the fact that people are clamoring for more, I think they really are going to start to push out the armies a bit more and introduce not only new kits, but I do think they will eventually start to update some of the older models for the ranges as well. So this could be a good way to start it, bringing some of those really, really old kits like their Skeleton Warriors into a more modern style, or just bringing some newer kits into the range on top of that, is a really great way to support the range. And I think this is, you know, it's 100% going to be Tomb Kings, but what exactly we are going to see for them is anyone's guess. But either way, I'm really, really excited about it because I love the old world. So seeing it get more love and support and sort of that backing from GW just makes me feel really, really confident about the game system. Now we move on to a couple which are maybe a bit less obvious. We've got Adam wearing what looks to be a very piratey privateer style hat, and I'm honestly not sure what this one might show off. Could it be something in the back of my mind to do with a Dogs of War style force for Age of Sigmar or the old world? The Dogs of War are a very popular old faction from fantasy, and weirdly enough, they're also something that Warhammer Total War fans have long awaited, and there's been loads of rumours going around for months and months now about Dogs of War being one of the upcoming patches. So maybe not, this may be a bit too soon, but in sort of the back of my mind, could this perhaps tie into that? Could they announce the Dogs of War as sort of an old world release, and maybe say this is going to tie in to a future patch with Warhammer 3? Obviously it wouldn't be anytime soon because we know what the current latest patch for Warhammer 3 is going to be, and it's not the Dogs of War, but maybe they will hint at a future patch and use this as a way to kind of start building some hype towards that. I think that would be really cool. It would be super popular for old world players and for people that love Total War, and it would just be something a bit more vague but really unique and interesting. So I think it would actually be quite cool if that was the case. I don't know if it is likely, but that's sort of what I'm hoping for. Back to Eddie, we now have him sporting a top hat. This ties in actually to the next hat he is wearing as well. So we'll show both of those off side by side. So he's wearing a top hat, and then the next time we see Eddie, he's wearing an even taller top hat. So he's got a tall, long hat, and it's just big. It's a big hat. And he actually says to Adam in the clip, it's not too big, is it? So this is just another hint to me that we already know. This is Chaos Dwarfs. Chaos Dwarfs are absolutely getting previewed in this show, so I can't wait to see them. I can't wait to see just how much they go in on the big hat theme. Hope they don't go too far, but at the same time, they do have to have some pretty big hats. Back to Adam again now, we have another fantasy style hat with this wizard's hat. It's a pretty typical wizard hat. If they were showing anything off like Lord of the Rings related, I would say this is clearly, some kind of Gandalf or sort of something related to that. But this is obviously going to be something AOS or fantasy related. Honestly, it could be any number of things. There could be some new named wizards for the cities of Sigmar. It could be some casters perhaps for the old world. There is even a symbol on the preview artwork for Warhammer Underworlds, so maybe there will be a brand new Underworld team that sports a load of wizards in it or a load of magicians for a certain faction. So this could be anything really, but I certainly think it's going to be either Age of Sigmar or the Old World. Finally, the last few are also quite unique. Adam has got this jingly Jester's hat up next. This could be an indication that some love is finally coming back for the Harlequins, who have been overlooked for such a long time now. They're a faction that I really love, even though they've got such a criminally small range. Yes, they are in the main Aeldari Codex, so they get support that way, but their actual army itself, if you wanted to run pure Harlequins, is incredibly small. So maybe getting some new unique units, maybe even just getting some new sculpts for their very monoposed troop models. Maybe they could even be getting a kill team, because it does say there are going to be some kill team reveals here. So getting a Harlequin kill team would, I think, be incredibly welcome as well. It would put, in my opinion, a lot of life back into a sub-faction that a lot of people love and want to play. They just feel that it's not quite fleshed out enough. So if that is an indication that some love in some capacity is coming for the Harlequins, I am all for it. Eddie then brings us back around with another pirate hat. So once again, potentially a hint at some kind of Dogs of War faction. But I'm going to expand on that here. Hear me out. What if... Yeah, I know. Before anyone says anything, I know that's crazy. But they are a really popular faction, and people would love to play Vampires of the Coast or Vampirates, however you want to call it. It would be a really unique and interesting faction to bring to a game like the Old World, I think. Vampirates would be such a cool idea. It would really make the Old World stand out and stand alone compared to things like Age of Sigmar and even old fantasy. It would be such a new thing. And they've been doing it already with armies like Cathay, which is something brand new, and even the long-awaited Kislev, which I think is still a rumor at the moment, but it's pretty much a confirmed rumor because we know they've been doing the sort of artwork and the designs for them. We know they're coming. But doing Cathay and Kislev is a way to really separate the old world from old fantasy and bring a load of new players into a game where nothing like this in any other tabletop game has really ever been offered. Things like Cathay and Kislev, and if they did do this, Vampires of the Coast, would be such a unique thing. It would be so cool to see. So this is very much a long shot, but I wanted to throw it in there because you never know. This could be a hint at Vampires of the Coast. I don't know if that's likely, but in my heart of hearts, I would love to see it. The final one then is Adam wearing this semi-cowboy / Indiana Jones style hat. I'm not sure what they're called, but it could be something to do with an archaeologist if it is Indiana Jonesy style, or at least something to do with history. So I think maybe this is a hint at something old and sort of archaeology and gold and sort of digging up the earth theme. So this strikes me actually as something dwarven again, and maybe a hint at something for the Caradron overlords. I think with all their talk about oath gold and adventuring across the skies, they do kind of have that sort of Indiana Jones feel in a way. So maybe not completely accurate, but it doesn't feel wholly off-brand if this sort of hat is to kind of give a hint at that sort of adventuring style, looking for gold theme of the Caradron overlords. And we know they are coming, so that could perhaps be a hint at them. I know the Caradron have already had their sort of semi-preview in terms of their codex cover and a few of the models that are coming with them, but maybe there is one final surprise that is coming from them that they haven't shown off yet, and this could be just a way to show that off. Maybe they wanted to keep it to tie in with the dwarf theme of the Votann and the Chaos Dwarfs. I don't know, that is another long shot, but I can't think what else that style hat might be an indication of. So all in all, a lot of potential reveals coming on the 18th. I think that Chaos Dwarfs, Deathwatch, and Tomb Kings are about as confirmed as they possibly can be. But on top of that, maybe some more Age of Sigmar updates, perhaps a brand new Old World army, maybe even some Aeldari in the form of the Harlequins, even if it is, as I said, just a kill team, would also be incredibly cool to see, and in my opinion, would make this possibly one of the best reveal shows that GW have done in a long time. But that's going to be it for today. As always, I'd love to know what you think. What are your thoughts and theories and hopes for this preview show? Let me know all of what you think we might see down in the comments below. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me. But until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.